nos ha unido con nosotros hoy en día. I'm joined today. I'm so glad to join today with Salomon Paredes. He is the executive director of the DMV area chapter of the NHCLC. Salomon, it's great to have you on today.
Very happy to be here as well. Blessings to everyone. God bless everyone. Thank you.
And we're talking today about the pastor in 2030, and we're going to get into that conversation. Vamos a hablar hoy del pastor en cómo se visualiza el pastor en 2030, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit later. But before we get into that, I want to share some just brief updates on what's happened over the past week. Last week with the NHCLC, and right now what I'm showing is the NHCLC Now newsletter. One of the things I want you to know that if you want to subscribe to our weekly newsletter, you can go to nhclc.org. You can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It's got great information that we put out every week. But today I want to talk just really briefly before we get into our discussion on the Pastor in 2030. I want to share some updates from this past week. Reverend Rodriguez hizo una entrevista en Good Morning America y habló de muchos temas, habló de una nueva aplicación que acaba de salir, también habló de la reforma migratoria y también pues compartió un mensaje de esperanza para todos. Y quiero que veamos un poquito de este clip y voy a mostrarlo a ver si puedo compartir con ustedes, pero es un breve clip de Pastor Sam en Good Morning America y quiero que lo mire con nosotros y ahí está. Aquí va a salir, ok. Y tome un momento con nosotros para mirar este breve clip de Pastor Sam en Good Morning America. De hecho, voy a esperar porque creo que va a salir un anuncio. Entonces, perdón, déjame hacer esto. Ok. Entonces, al ratito vamos a ver un clip de Pastor Samuel Rodríguez en Good Morning America y vamos a ver lo que compartió este día. Y aquí está.
Never again will I live in failure, and never again will failure live in me. How do you know that? 1 Thessalonians 5:24, he who called you is faithful to do it. Because of Philippians 1:6, he who started a good work in you, he will finish the work he has started. Because of Galatians 6:9, do not grow weary of doing what is right. In your appointed time, you will reap a harvest of blessings if you do not give up.
That is a big way to kick off Faith Friday here at ABC. That was a clip of Pastor Samuel Rodriguez of New Season Church sharing his sermon on a new app called Faithful. He is one of 50-plus faith leaders featured on that app, and the California Reverend joins us now to tell us about how it is helping people stay connected to their faith and to church. Welcome, Pastor Sam. Thanks for being with us, and I want to hear all about this Faithful app. Tell us about it.
One, thank you for having me, too. I got to get off the coffee. Too much coffee there. Amy, this app is amazing. It truly is. It's an answered prayer for these troubled times. It's the premier app for millennial Christians, but a great resource for people of all faiths, all generations. You're talking about some of the most influential voices in Christendom today, all in one space. Content that inspires, informs, and it imparts. It speaks to the heart, the head, and the hand. And not just any content, but content for these troubled times filled with love, truth, grace, hope, and faith. You can customize it like a daily vitamin supplement regimen with green tea, of course. Again, it's an amazing app.
So I'm going to go ahead and just pause it right there. But Pastor Sam goes on to talk about immigration reform, goes on to talk about just sharing what his family went through during the COVID season. And I want to encourage you, there is a way you can access it to this clip. And it's just a wonderful clip, very inspirational. Brother Salomon Paredes, what stuck out to you most about watching this clip? I don't know if you've seen the entire clip this past week, but what's something that stuck out to you the most during this clip?
Well, the Faithful app is something that's really a resource, especially for his younger generation. And from what I've seen in the app, and also looking through and listening to different speakers, one Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, I feel like it's something that's an impactful resource for us, even for the ones who are not up there on the pulpit, but the ones that are receiving. So that's what mostly stuck out to me, definitely.
Well, yeah, and it really is truly impactful, what this app is doing and the impact it's having around the nation. Now, I know we wanted to talk today a little bit about what we call the pastor in 2030, right? And I'm going to show a little, a quick graphic that you shared with me. And let me go ahead and see if I can find this right here. There we go. And it's going to come up so you can see what we're talking about. Estamos hablando del pastor de 2030. Y aquí hay una imagen que se puede ver que dice cómo se visualiza un pastor para el 2030. And so, Pastor, our brother Salomon Paredes, what will the pastor look like in 2030?
So one thing that I mean, when in looking at this image, I see that the man holding the Bible, and that is something that is the pastor will always have to have close to his heart, dear to his heart, the Word of God, right? And then with a purpose, with a main focus, and also with not just a vertical but a horizontal connection, and in which we speak about with the Lamb agenda, right? And I think one of the features due to COVID that has been recently added is technology. Entonces, vemos que los pastores, vemos en la imagen misma, vemos que el pastor está sosteniendo su Biblia y la palabra de Dios para que el pastor siempre acuda a la palabra, que esa palabra se en su corazón, donde lleve, tener el propósito, tener la conexión no solo vertical, pero horizontal, también al mismo tiempo con la agenda del Cordero. Y uno de los factores que se ha añadido últimamente es tecnología. Entonces, yo siento que el pastor del 2030 va a caminar al lado de tecnología también, como un pin en su blazer, like a pin on his blazer. Technology, the NACOC en inglés, and the Bible, the Word of God, most importantly.
Y ya hemos visto esta realidad, ¿verdad? Que los pastores hoy en día tienen que tener una forma de poder promover su mensaje, también promover ¿cómo se dice? The sacraments, no sé cómo decirlo, pero los sacramentos que hace la iglesia. Y tienen que tener una forma de poder proveer el ministerio a través de tecnología, porque en este mundo hay un montón de mensajes que están compitiendo para la atención de las personas, ¿verdad? Y los pastores tienen que tener una forma de poder ministrar a su gente a través de la tecnología. Y se puede hacerlo con un worldwide, con un website, ¿verdad? Con una aplicación, también un podcast. ¿Y qué son, what are some of the forms in which you're seeing pastors are starting to engage in technology today that maybe they weren't doing even 10 years ago?
One way that I've seen is every pastor has gone towards the Facebook, the social media, but even further than that, going towards the website, the mobile app, having their own technology side in order. Entonces, una de las cosas que he visto es que los pastores han estado en las redes sociales, han aprovechado esos recursos gratis, pero regresando a lo que es la página web, que sería propia de ellos, la aplicación móvil, comenzar a estructurarse tecnológicamente para estar defendido. Y una de las cosas que estábamos viendo también es que acudir a esa persona tecnológica que está dentro de la iglesia, tenerlo aún más cerca. And one thing that I've noticed also is having that person inside that church that helps you with technology, that advises you as a pastor on which direction to go. Definitely.
Let me ask you this question. You have your ear to the ground as it relates to technology. What are some things that are on the horizon and that aren't even being discussed right now, maybe in the mainstream, because they're just still being developed? So what are some technological things that we can look forward to on the horizon that might not even just be talked about, in the church world right now?
Well, one thing is virtual reality. That has a really artificial intelligence, virtual reality that has come into play with there is some people who have done innovations in reference to having being able to put on VR glasses and sit in a church, literally an environment, and see like the pulpit from there and see the speaker preaching at a 3D way, and also the speaker right there in a different place with a background that looks like his pulpit, right? He's preaching. So that is definitely one of the latest technologies out there that I think a lot of churches haven't seen yet. It will be coming, and it could be that the pastor in 2030 is preaching from his home, and it looks like the pulpit.
Ustedes lo han oído que el pronóstico para el 2030 es tener una iglesia en donde se puede experimentar todo lo que es la iglesia a través de unos lentes, ¿verdad? De realidad virtual. Yo creo que sí es eso posible. Yo creo que también en este momento los pastores están buscando formas de poder proveer una experiencia dentro de la casa, ¿verdad? Porque escuchamos muchos pastores domingos, están predicando, están en sus casas o están en el altar, están predicando y lo están grabando o lo están estrenando por Facebook, por YouTube, pero lo que ellos quieren es no solamente que provean un mensaje, ¿verdad? Pero quieren que la gente que están escuchando su mensaje puedan experimentar Dios, que pueden tener una experiencia también de adoración. Los líderes de adoración no solamente están ahí para cantar, ¿verdad? Están ahí para poder ministrar a la gente, para poder ayudar a la gente a entrar a la presencia de Dios. Yo creo que es lo que usted dijo sobre los virtual reality. Yo creo que eso es algo muy posible porque la iglesia está buscando formas de poder ministrar, no solamente hablar, pero ministrar a la gente en sus casas, ¿verdad?
Amén. Estoy 100% de acuerdo.
Pues yo quiero también compartir unas cosas sobre lo que también ha estado pasando muy brevemente. Quiero compartir sobre lo que es los Promise Keepers. Salomon Paredes, ¿qué ha sido su experiencia o su historia con los Promise Keepers?
Bueno, yo sé que en nuestra iglesia local he escuchado que Promise Keeper es un ministerio que están involucrados con, y también sé que trabajan con NHCLC también muy cercanamente. Pronto parece que van a tener un evento, ¿verdad?
Sí, el 17 de julio en Dallas, Texas, donde vivo yo, van a tener un evento muy grande. Y pues my experience with Promise Keepers, I've always seen Promise Keepers as something that my dad was a part of, right? Something that my pastor was a part of. But they've really taken steps right now these past few years to relaunch, to rebrand, to make the Promise Keepers movement alive again. And they're going to be hosting a great large event in Dallas, Texas, on these dates that are listed. And so I included a link in the post to this Facebook post, or you're watching on YouTube. There's a link there. You can actually get some more information on Promise Keepers 2021. Va a ser un evento muy, muy impactante. Todavía no han anunciado los speakers, todavía los oradores, pero yo sé que va a ser un evento muy impactante. Quiero invitar a todos que están viendo que vayan a la página de web que está promisekeepersevent.com y pueden aprender más de este gran evento. What's been your experience, Salomon, with even just the men's ministry in churches, men's ministry altogether? Do you find that men's ministry is a strong focus of churches, or do you think that there's more that we can do in the church to be able to provide a strong men's ministry?
Yo creo que I think that the men's ministry is super important. It's one of the most important ministries of the church. You bring the man to church, he brings his family. He's the provider. He's the one that's going to stand up. And men should be taught to be planted, to have character. As a matter of fact, in our church, like let's say USA, we're having a situation where we're studying character for 12 weeks on a weekly basis to see that generation of men stand up. And it's definitely, men's ministry is super, super important. El ministerio de varones es súper, súper importante para la iglesia de este día. Usted atrae a la iglesia el varón de la casa, el hombre de la casa, y trae toda la familia. Él es el que va a dirigir, ¿verdad? Entonces, invertir en la iglesia, tener a alguien en el ministerio, tener un ministerio de varones es súper, súper importante. En nuestra iglesia estamos compartiendo en Eclesia USA sobre los varones de fe, y pronto vamos a tener una conferencia también, y estamos estudiando 12 semanas de carácter. Entonces, muy, muy interesante y eso ayuda a formar, pero el ministerio de varones es súper importante.
Sí. Y no sé si podrás, pero me gustaría verte acá en Dallas por esas fechas y yo te tomo para tomar un cafecito o algo así.
Claro que
¿Cómo
sí.
ves?
Me encantaría pasar por allá.
Ok.
Y tal vez
Pues,
hasta llevar el ministerio de varones en nuestra iglesia. Tal vez hay
sí,
otros ministerios de iglesias, otras iglesias que están interesados en llevar los varones. Yo creo que
sí.
es algo, el ministerio de varones debe ser el que se levanta, como la palabra dice, que construye a ese altar.
Sí. Y estamos pidiendo, si está viendo esto y si usted es pastor de una iglesia o director del ministerio de varones en su iglesia, por favor, traiga a los hombres a este evento. Puede ser un evento catalítico, puede ser un evento en donde los hombres de la iglesia, de tu iglesia, pueden estar esforzados y también pues animados de ser los líderes en sus comunidades, líderes en sus casas y líderes en su iglesia. Pues te invito a los Promise Keepers 2021 en Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium. 80,000 personas van a venir a este evento. Y va a ser un evento muy impactante. You know, Salomon, there's so much that's going on with the NHCLC. I wish that we had all the time in the world to talk about everything. But one of the final things that I want to mention before we close out our time today is just a recent press release that went out last week, and it is regarding what we're titling just EITC and CTC awareness, earned income tax credit, child tax credit awareness. I want to show here, and I want to share the press release that just went out, and I'm going to read it briefly, but regarding this initiative in which the NHCLC is participating. And if you're watching it there, you can read along with me. But it says, press release, National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference pledges EITC and CTC awareness campaign, earned income tax credit, child tax credit awareness campaign. And I'm going to read a little bit. It says here, the campaign will run through June 2021 and serve pastors and faith leaders within the NHCOC network in the context of its life and biblical justice directives. Reverend Samuel Rodriguez and the NHCLC issued the following statement pledging their commitment to the tax credit campaign. And it says here, the NHCLC's commitment to biblical justice drives us to educate the Latino evangelical community regarding issues and policies that aid in the prosperity of the Hispanic community. We will strive to raise the individual and collective acumen of Latino pastors, community leaders, and parents to navigate the American tax system, thus enabling low to middle income Hispanic families to retain and steward more of their personal finances to meet the immediate needs of their families. Pastors and leaders of the NHCLC commit to alert their congregants who may qualify for the EITC or CTC and share information and resources with partner community organizations and other local members of the Hispanic community. And I've included a link in the post of this broadcast for people to go check out that press release, check out the statement, and just learn more about the earned income tax credits and child tax credit awareness. Solomon, I know that we right now is tax season. And I mean, why do you think it's important just for churches to be able just to inform their members about these kind of tax credits, these tax benefits that they might qualify for?
I think it's super important that churches inform, that churches communicate, because it's equipping the congregation, the members that might be not just struggling in circumstance, but to take that benefit that is being given, right, and use it, and who knows that they turn around and bless the same church, right? But it's very, very important, very crucial to actually do that. Y yo creo que es muy importante para que la iglesia comunique esa información, la mande a través de todos los miembros, porque no solo es para las personas que están así o luchando financieramente, pero quién sabe, tal vez uno se dé la vuelta y diga, voy a bendecir la iglesia. Entonces, son parte de digamos, cosas que Dios está proveyendo en estos momentos a los hermanos. Y podemos
pues gracias por sus comentarios. Salomon Paredes, no sé si hay algo más que le gustaría compartir a nuestra audiencia o hay algo en su corazón que quiere compartir con la gente que está viendo.
No, bueno, yo quería decir gracias a todos por escucharnos aquí en NHCOC, ¿verdad? También represento lo que es Iglesia Tech, de parte de lo que estamos haciendo ahí, un movimiento tecnológico para pastores. Entonces, pastores, escriban a la NHCDC o búsquenos también en Facebook como Iglesia Tech. Podemos ayudarle con la parte de tecnología, con todo lo que es página web, aplicación móvil, diseño gráfico. Pero gracias, hermanos, sigamos fiel, no perdamos la fe, sigamos así, y aún en estos tiempos es tiempo de levantarnos, estar firmes con la palabra de Dios, buscar ser plantados en nuestras iglesias y regresar otra vez a hacer como Dios nos manda, especialmente los varones, con el men's ministry, ¿verdad? Ser como el árbol plantado cerca de las aguas para crecer en el nombre de Dios.
Amén. Pues siempre es un gusto hablar contigo, y quiero invitar a todos que están viendo, síganos en el Twitter at New Evangelicals, y también si usted quiere recibir actualizaciones cada semana, puede ir a nuestra página de web y puedes inscribir a nuestro NHCOC Now newsletter. Hay recursos, hay mensajes, hay updates de lo que estamos haciendo, campañas, y también hay información que puede compartir con sus iglesias. Entonces, quiero decir gracias. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for joining us for the Lamb's Agenda Hoy. There is so much going around in this nation, and we're just honored and blessed by the Lord to be a part of these conversations and to be able to be the Hispanic evangelical voice for the community. On behalf of Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, thank you for joining us for the Lamb's Agenda Hoy. Together, we will change the world.